So this is INNT, Innovative Biopharmaceuticals, and shorted this morning at about 24 bucks, and now it is at about 20 bucks, 21 bucks. But this thing is just tanking, and here it is right here on the daily. You can see it peaked up at 50, and then it just started dumping. And this is just a pure scam here. They release news. They're losing so much money. They're just a couple dollar stock, which is where this will go back to. But they release news about some new breakthrough in celiac disease treatment that's years and years away from approval and commercialization and actually making them any money. So this ran. This is a super low float. So it was about, let's see here. I mean, they've been diluting, so the float's bigger now, but 536.7 divided by 2089. So it's a 26 million float, and this thing did some serious volume whenever it was really running and people were excited. But anyway, since then they have just been almost criminal in how they've handled it. You can see on their 10K that they filed. If we look at their risk factors, they have incurred significant losses since inception and expect to continue to incur losses. Makes it difficult to assess our future viability. Our auditors expressed substantial doubt about our ability to continue. And if we look at their finances, okay, so the net sales decreased almost in half. Gross profit was negative. Operating expenses increased from 164% to 472. That's terrible. The net loss has increased, and the cash burn is pretty bad also, but it has decreased from 2016. Yeah, so their finances are ugly. And then you can see on the 15th, right when this pump really got going, they filed a shelf offering, which is right here. And this states that they're doing a secondary offering registered for $14.60 maximum. And so they have that registered. And then they also just did this today. Talked about they're doing $175 million aggregate offering, and they can offer to sell from time to time. It means whenever they want, an aggregate of $175 million worth of shares. So it's huge. And a lot of it is an at-the-money offering. Let me see where they say that. Try to hide that. Okay, yeah. 40 million of it can be sold at the market. So that means they can just sell at the bid. So like right now the highest bid is 2077. They can just dump. I mean, they've been doing it. That's what this crash was from. So when this ran up, I mean, they make no money. So this is all scam. They released the news on a low float stock because they make no money. So they pumped it up, got people excited. It ran. Then they filed their shelf filing, and then it kept running. And then after that, they've been dumping $40 million worth of shares into this at the bid. So just selling into it, and that stifled the run and started the crash. And then now, as this is tanking, once they finish selling all that $40 million worth of stock and just crushing unsuspecting investors, then when it tanks enough and they run out of that, then they're going to hit you with the shelf, or they're going to hit, investors with the shelf filing that we talked about at 1460 maximum. Might even be less. Yeah, so if this tanks around to this area or like right above it down into the teens, they'll probably dump this offering on the investors, and then that will crash right to 1460 probably. And then from there, people will just lose all faith and start to dump it. It'll be so diluted at that point, and then it should come all the way back down to 5 in a matter of time. And that's exactly what happened to ZSANs of Sano Pharmaceuticals. It ran, they dumped an offering, and I don't know about you, but these charts are starting to look pretty similar to me. And I think that this is exactly what INNT is going to look like over the next few days. Tomorrow's Friday, so I don't know, there might be some short covering and maybe a little pop or whatever, but, by the end of next week or the next week or so, as this continues to come down, they're going to finish their at the money 40 million offering, hit them with the shelf, and then it's going to crash down to 15, and the chart will be so broken it'll look like this that everyone else will just sell out and have to get out. And then that'll dump it back down, and then it'll fade back to the original price, which happens all the time. They did the same thing with HMNY. Look at this, it dragged out over more time, but now it's like a joke. I think they just did another offering yesterday and killed people, yeah. But they're just, these companies make no money. This is the only way they make money, is to get people excited, run the price, and then dump secondary offerings, and they don't care if you get burned or not as long as they make their money, so they can keep scamming it and paying themselves $1 million a year and buying jets and boats. So that's what I think is going to happen. And then this morning, we're really starting to see the death drop. Like, it dropped from 50 to 30, and then it consolidated a bit, but today was a big break of that 25 support level. You can see that where it kind of bounced off 25 a couple times, but today it busted down to 20, so it should come down into the teens hopefully soon, and then they'll probably do the secondary, and that'll bring it down to 15, and then from there it'll just fade naturally down as people lose faith and start to realize what's happening to them. So it's brutal, but that's what they're doing. So I don't know whether I'm gonna cover this tomorrow and then try to get into other plays, because I have a decent amount of money wrapped up in this. About 10 grand. So I don't know if I want that much of my cash tied up in this for, like a week or so just for an extra G, or whether I just want to take, the 775 bucks right here. Hopefully it'll be around a G tomorrow and I can just close it out and move on to something else. But if there's nothing else better, then I'll just ride this through tomorrow, depending on how it acts. I'll just see how it goes in the morning. But yeah, this is starting to show its true colors here, so pretty interesting. All right, we're now at that 20 point, and I think I'm going to go ahead and cover and just make a clean $1,000 on this trade. It's a good dump into the open here. I like this. So 250 limit. I think this is going to go down even more, but I don't care. Let's just get that 1,000.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
All right. Cool. So we covered at 20 from 24. Cool. So now if this pops, if there's any bounces on the backside, I'll reshort into that. But yeah, little $1,000 trade held overnight, and this this is on its death throes, so this is going to be a good short on the way down, into any pops. So yeah, when you see these drawn out scams finally on the backside, a lot of times you can. It takes more patience, and you have to hold through bounces more often. Um, but a lot of times these broken scams on the back end are good, short swings. You hold them a couple days, and sometimes you can get some massive dumps. Like this is probably, it's Friday today, but by the end of next week, this should be down in the low teens. And they're probably going to do that offering at some point soon, like we talked about. But this was a good trade, so